Jay Hamilton here at the ALEC annual meeting in Austin, Texas, and one of our media celebrities, Michael Medved, is here, and he has been interviewing a number of participants. You have the Michael Medved Show, at one time 330 stations and still going strong.
Thank God.
Tell us about who you talked to and what are some of the sentiment and feelings that you came away with?
Well, it's interesting because some of the most interesting conversations are the conversations in between being on the air. One of the things that was fascinating was I led a debate between two outstanding conservatives on the popular vote initiative and the compact of the states that would basically end the Electoral College. And I was surprised because I had thought that conservatives would be unanimously opposed to that suggestion. But Senator Ray Haynes, a former state senator in California, has made, I think, a strong case, and Jay Townsend, who was on the other side, argued that well. I moderated that debate, and then I participated in another conversation off the air about the idea of media federalism, because part of what ALEC is all about is federalism, is the idea that not everything should be based in Washington, D.C. and top down. And one of the problems we have in media right now is the decline of local news and local voices altogether. And yes, people can go to the internet and sometimes find neighborhood information, but even then, the domination with national sources and national everything, I think is threatening something very precious in our culture, which is the idea of regionalism and regional difference and local concern, because that's the essence of conservatism, is what Edmund Burke called the little platoons of society, is family, business, community, church or synagogue congregation.
And Thomas Jefferson said that no man should govern farther than the eye can see, and he divided the counties into wards even.
Right.
And one thing about the state legislators, of course, is you run into them in your grocery store, at the gas station.
Yeah.
Is there more of an emphasis on states' rights, these democracies, laboratories of democracy, with this administration? Do you seeing a shift moving over to the states or not?
Not yet. I mean, one of the problems, and one of, I think, I believe that President Trump, if he's going to win re-election, has to uphold that principle of federalism a little bit more. Not everything should be initiating in the White House. This cannot be an election about one man, because frankly, that's not what our founders had in mind. The president is a leader of a party. And by the way, it is every bit as important what happens in the congressional election and in all of the state legislative elections. I mean, we had a very disastrous time, Republicans, conservatives, in 2018. And I think that there has to be a recognition that it's not enough to eke out a victory by winning just enough electoral votes in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. There needs to be a competitive race, it seems to me, that's run everywhere. And I hope that President Trump and his advisors and his campaign will understand that necessity.
You're talking about just picking the states that you know you win and just concentrating there and not getting your message to perhaps all 50 states?
Right. Well, for instance, California. We need to compete in California. We lost 7 congressional seats, Republicans, in California last time.
Right.
And if we are to have any chance of winning back the House, then I think it's absolutely crucial we compete everywhere. Democrats are going to compete in Texas. We know that. They've announced it, and they lost. Trump won Texas by 9 points last time. They're going to compete in Arizona. They're going to compete in Georgia. We Republicans have to understand, because I'll tell you, even if Trump ekes out a victory again in the Electoral College, but loses the popular vote again, that would be the first time in history that a president, or you've had 2 times in a row, where you've had a split decision, where the popular vote winner lost the Electoral College. That would be bad for the Republic. It would be bad for the institution of the Electoral College. I think for the sake of regaining control of Congress and for giving the Trump administration some legitimacy and emphasis and new energy momentum for a second term, it's really crucial that he win the popular vote this time, as well as the Electoral College.
Right. Is there something broke that needs fixing? You know, they pointed to redistricting. Is there something broke in your view in this political process that needs fixing? Does the whole thing need fixing?
Well, we don't have enough time. There's a lot broke, but one of the things is
Yeah.
The campaigns, they're too expensive, they're too long. My brother went to live in Israel 30 years ago. And Israeli politics is crazy and there are lots of parties, but one thing they do well, they have a campaign of 3 weeks.
Nice,
It's
yeah.
very intense. Everybody thinks, lives, breathes politics for 3 weeks. But this idea of doing it for 3 years is kind of nuts. And what it prevents is, like the people here at ALEC, and it's really wonderful, a lot of the people love the business of legislating, of being legislators, of actually trying to work on some of these mundane problems that actually impact people's lives, about fixing potholes and building schools.
Zoning, whatever it may be.
Yeah, parks.
Right.
Everybody loves parks, but the fact is that almost from the first moment of a new administration, and this is not just Trump, it's everybody, you're running for re-election, certainly as a member of Congress every 2 years. And when it's so expensive and so time-consuming, and when here we are, it's in August of the year before the election. We're almost a year and a half away.
Right.
And we're all absorbed with it. And I think there needs to be a means of...
I think it particularly turns off the younger generation
No
to
question.
participate in democracy. It's
No
just,
question.
it really turns them off. I mean, they're used to, Instagram and YouTube and instant gratification, and these long elections. It's like, oh, I'll tune in when I need to, or I won't tune in at all. Final question: as you look at the conservative movement and where it is today, what sort of sentiment? What did you come away with? Was just sort of the, testing the pulse of the crowd here at ALEC and the conservatives here at ALEC? Was it a sense that stronger, weaker, an indecisive period?
It's interesting. I mean, I was actually very encouraged here because there are a lot of people who are looking beyond this dominant media and national consciousness about the president, who understand that the future of the conservative movement, there will be, it might be in 2021, it might be in 2025, but there will be a post-Trump era. There has to be. I mean, I know he jokes about third term and fourth term, but it's a joke. He's not going to change the Constitution. And it's really important because there are a lot of different centers of energy and daring in the United States. There are good things that are happening in the states. And yes, Republicans had a bad election in 2018, but there are places where there actually are real possibilities for progress. We have some outstanding governors on the conservative side of things. And I think what encouraged me here is that people's interests and passion were so much broader than simply the latest presidential tweet or the latest presidential rally or the latest Democratic outrage against President Trump, and there are plenty of those. And I think that's healthy for the United States because any successful political movement has to be bottom-up, has to be truly national, and that, after all, is the heritage of the Republican Party.
Well, hey, thank you for participating again in
I
ALEC.
appreciate it.
Michael
Thank
Medved,
you.
the Michael Medved Show, and coming from ALEC in its annual meeting in Austin, Texas.
Thank you.